What Joseph does, to us anyway, what Joseph does makes complete sense. Of course, we're kind of invested in the story, aren't we? We want it to play out. We simply presume it will play out just as it does. We can't imagine it happening any other way. Except that to the people around Joseph, his friends, co-workers, family members, nosy neighbors, none of what Joseph does makes sense. None of it. What seems just and right to us would have been perceived to most everyone else around him. It would have been regarded as ridiculous, foolish, inexplicable, and even illegal, contrary to the law. Now, our customs of dating and engagement and marriage are much more fluid, much more fluid than they were in the time of Mary and Joseph. Betrothal or engagement lasted a year. It was a legal agreement between the man and the woman. Essentially, it was as if they were married, except the woman remained in her father's home until a formal public ritual in which she was taken by the husband to his home. Then they were regarded as husband and wife. Joseph and Mary were in that phase of betrothal, but that still involved commitment, fidelity. That was all very much expected. But now, Mary is going to have a baby. And so by the pertinent norms and laws, she had apparently been unfaithful, committed adultery. And the law outlined in Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 21, it states, the penalty for such an offense is death by stoning. We're told that Joseph was a righteous man. He abided by the law. And so now, what is he to do? Joseph chooses the option that will be less shameful for Mary, less harmful. He'll divorce her, as we're told, quietly, simply ending it and walking away. Again, this was allowed at least a minimum by the law. Now that's his plan until an angelic messenger interrupts what would have been otherwise a very peaceful night of sleep. The angel assures him that he has no reason to fear. And so Joseph breaks with the customs, the legalities of the time. He welcomes Mary into his home and will take the child as his own. Now that's the outcome we'd expect, right? It's the trajectory of the story that we've known since we were children. But it's not what any of Joseph's family or friends or nosy neighbors, it's not at all what they would have expected or encouraged. But it is what a good, just person would do. And it offers, in the very first chapter of Matthew's telling of the story, Joseph's witness offers an excellent foreshadowing of how Jesus will operate, how Jesus will always interpret the law so as to emphasize compassion, putting justice and dignity ahead of legalities. Here's a contemporary example in which such an approach would seem to have been helpful. You may have seen in the news late last month a bit of the story of Amy Lucia Lopez Beoza. She was nearing the end of her first semester of studies at Boston College and was on her way home to Texas to surprise her family for Thanksgiving. She had already passed through security at Boston's Logan International Airport when she was detained by immigration officials and 2 days later sent to Honduras, where she had not lived since she was 7 years old. That deportation occurred even though a federal judge had ordered that she not be removed from Massachusetts. I posted this news story on Facebook because I think such stories need to be told. We need to know what's happening, regardless of what our political positions on such matters might be. Someone commented to my post that this woman had clearly violated the law. He identified the numbers, the code of US law that she had violated by coming here as a child. This commenter concluded that she simply had no right to be in our country and certainly no right to be enrolled in one of our universities. And that is probably true according to the law, if we regard the law existing apart from real people and realities of human life. But then I think of Joseph and the law everyone thought that he needed to follow strictly, structures of law and custom that seemed essentially to an orderly manner of society. I think of Jesus and how often he violated various laws and norms of when and who and how and where, putting compassion and justice and dignity, mercy and love, putting all of that ahead of legalities. We can often, in these days and in the life of Jesus, we can often overlook Joseph. He can easily get lost in the shadows of the star, lost as the story unfolds. And yet here at the beginning, Joseph seems to be onto something, offering a courageous witness, a life-giving, a love-living response that we might seemingly do well to emulate. Whether or not it makes sense, whether or not it is reasonable, maybe even whether or not it is legal.